Welcome, citizens, foreign dignitaries, and other people to the October 6, 2025 edition of Zeitung Radio for Kaiserreich. It has been over a year since the last episode, and you know what? That's just because I'm lazy, to be honest. But we have lots of news to go over for quarter 3, 2025, and we'll just jump right in with political news. First up is that the United Center Coalition, made up of the Committee of Union and Progress, led by Bolesia and Germanar, as well as the Fatherland Centrum Party, led by Vespeck, has been formally dissolved. This is because, they say, from ideological disagreements, though I honestly could not tell you what those were. I actually did not even know that this coalition existed. As many of you are aware, parties haven't really played a part in Kaiserreich politics since the Kaiserrepublik under Weyrd, but just thought you should be aware of that. In other internal politics news, it is with regret that I must inform you that the Archduke Big Germania has officially stepped down in order to pursue a sabbatical. His many positions have been divvied up amongst the high nobility, including the Pontifex Maximus, which has gone to Eskfor, the governor of Vedagothia, as well as the administration of Kaiserreicher Allgemeine, the newspaper for Kaiserreich. The Archduke has held power for many years and endured scandal after scandal, it seems, especially early on in his tenure. But overall, he has been a solidifying force within Kaiserreich, keeping the region going, and we appreciate and revere his long history of effort toward the administration of the government of Kaiserreich. So, from all of us here at Zeitung, we just want to thank the former Archduke for all of his efforts and hope that one day he may come back much stronger than ever before. As far as legislation goes, the gradual rewrite of the Imperial Codex, which is being spearheaded by Eskfor, has continued on really without any sort of trouble. Most of his amendments have been voted through nearly unanimously, and we believe that these will bring several quality of life improvements to the law in Kaiserreich. A new imperial company has also been founded called the Imperial Fair Company, which has been used to try and bolster activity with KRVCs, which have seen a steady drop in membership in the last maybe 2 months or so. So far, it seems to be going adequately well. The fairs for KRVCs, which happen almost every week, at least that's what's planned, are 5 credits. You can pay the fare with the Discord bot integrated with with your Reichsbank account. You can open a Reichsbank account at nstb.itfns.com. For more information, contact me, Scheinenland, and I will gladly help you through the steps to open an account. Now for foreign affairs news, we have several new treaties and allies that we have to discuss. First up is Raxula, also known as Raxulan Empire. For the longest time, we avoided relations with Raxula, primarily because their founder, Rusticus, had a bad reputation with NSGP and other WA-related groups. However, to be quite honest with you, I talked with Rusticus myself and found that he was well in line with Kaiserreicher values and was actually quite eloquent and intelligent. And we honestly thought that he would be a great addition to our list of allies. And we hope that moving forward, we have more chances to work with Rusticus and the Raxulan Empire. We've also, in the spirit of opening regions with fellow disgraced communities, we've also opened an embassy with Christians, the region Christians, that is. A very large region, a very large WA power. It's a very similar story to Raxula. I discussed with North Sion and Adjacor and found them to be, quite frankly, just good people, very intelligent, highly knowledgeable, and the kind of people that, quite frankly, we wish to ally ourselves with. Understandably, with their reputation, as with ours, there's more nuance to the story. If you would like any more information, feel free to contact me at the Minister of Foreign Affairs or the Chargé d'Affaires of those respective regions. We also opened an embassy with the Great Monarchical Nations, a smaller region but promising. I don't have too much to say about them because they're not as old or well known as the previous regions, but still very, very good to open new allies with like-minded regions. The only other embassy we wish to talk about today is the embassy that we had with the Sphere of Conservative Regions, led by Polish West Slavia. Now, we had held this embassy for about a month, I believe, but some questionable things came up about their founder, Polish West Slavia. Mainly, to be quite frank, just a lack of tact, jokes that were in poor taste at the wrong time. We won't go too deep into it as it's really not too important. But needless to say, the Chancellor, as well as myself, decided that, as well as everybody else at the ministry, to be clear, decided that it was time to dissolve the treaty with the Sphere of Conservative Regions. And that actually caused a little bit of a spat in the regional discord, which was really nothing new because Polish West Slavia had been antagonizing and being antagonized by our great honorable Prince Triggery. And he just, he really just crashed out on the Discord, and it was really unbecoming of him, and we just thought he was too much, to be frank. If you get on Trigori's bad side, it's not a great sign for you. As I told him to his face, Polish West Slavia, that is, I told him, Triggery is the most effective vet or litmus test for arrogance and hubris that I have ever known, and I greatly respect him for that. Anyway, that is all I have for you for Foreign Affairs news. Now we'll move on to the more juicy story of tonight, that being the 2-month-long infiltration of former Foreign Affairs Minister Imperialantis. Please bear with me as this story is a little bit convoluted, but I'll attempt to explain it in a more entertaining way. And I'm just going to tell you right away, I will get some details wrong, and I'm sure that Imperialantis will correct me. But I don't really care. To start it off, Imperialantis joined Kaiserreich as a relatively normal nation and joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to work as some sort of foreign attaché, right? Imperialantis, secretly, was the nation known as Waldorf, who was a high-ranking officer in another region called the World, right? So Waldorf was sneaking into Kaiserreich as Imperialantis, and interestingly enough, was trying to use our foreign relations to influence SCR, right? The region we had just previously discussed on the show. He came in and tried to influence SCR to divulge some information about Polish West Slavia and one of his associates, I suppose. And he seemingly succeeded because Imperialantis, acting as the Foreign Affairs Minister for Kaiserreich, managed to get some very intimate details from Polish West Slavia regarding regional politics, and it caused a whole scandal. We were in damage control mode. We didn't know what to do. We thought, how did this leak? The SID was involved. It was a whole ordeal. Anyway, we cleared Imperialantis of any guilt, and that was that. He was made minister because of his deal with SCR, and everything was looking great for him and for the region. However, soon after that happened, Imperialantis, who, I'll remind you, is Waldorf of the World, the region that is, needed to divert any suspicion towards him, chiefly from Estonland, then Chancellor Estonland, who felt something wrong with Imperialantis, that is. So Imperialantis sent in a new puppet named Free Berlin, and Free Berlin was just stupid. He came in acting almost comically arrogant and power hungry. He went to almost everyone trying to convince them to act against the Kaiser, even myself. And in a kind of, I don't know, I was trying to trip him up or get more information about who else was working with him. I accepted his offer to work with him. and immediately he informed the Kaiser that I was a traitor, or at least to him. And I just, of course, exposed him immediately. The SID and MOFA was all in on it the entire time, and, well, needless to say, he was booted quite quickly, but not before at least, he could convince our allies to give him regional officer positions and thus control over their regions, and I can't recall what he did to them, but I'm sure he tagged them in some way. So this big ordeal, Free Berlin, we get rid of him, right? Well, interestingly, Imperial Atlantis was trying to use Free Berlin in order to absolve himself of any suspicion or guilt, as we understand it. And for me, at least, it worked. I did not think that Imperial Atlantis was suspicious at all. I thought he was innocent. I thought that the Chancellor was being perhaps overzealous in their counter-espionage tactics. But as it turns out, Estonland stuck to their guns, and Imperial Atlantis ended up not only being Free Berlin, not only that, but also being Waldorf. And before really the judgment was cracked over Imperial Atlantis' head, he managed to raid Kaiserreich, he tagged us, and as well as, I believe, Raxila. So, to Raxila, we apologize. Again, it was never standard policy to have our chargé d'affaires have any RO positions in foreign regions, but at least now everyone is aware that hopefully this won't happen again. If any of you know Kaiserreich well, though, you know that what we love is a good coup attempt. And as a matter of fact, almost everyone in the higher tiers of government of Kaiserreich has at one point in time led a coup of their own. And it's kind of just tradition here. Unfortunately, Imperial Atlantis did not establish such a rapport that he could easily come back. We still aren't exactly sure his motives, but certainly an interesting coup attempt if there ever was one. In our final piece of news and foreign affairs news, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in an attempt to increase recruitment to the main region, Kaiserreich proper, began running frontiers through a new province called Grenzau, right? We started Grenzau as like the colonial province, in a way, and started running frontiers, which, if you don't know, new nations may be founded into, right? These frontiers, new nations, you don't just need stamps. New nations will just be founded straight into these, much like a feeder, like the North Pacific, for example. Anyway, we started New Welgard, which took its name after the capital of Osteria. And all seemed well. I believe at our peak we had 12 or 13 nations, before, to our surprise, a massive force of 70 raiders invaded our precious New Welgard and completely occupied it. There was nothing we could have done. Not the Reichswehr, not any of our allies. We could not have activated the Freikorps. It would not have mattered. It was a lost cause from the very beginning. It was made up of the League, Europia, the West Pacific, the Plains of Perdition, so many regions. It was simply impossible for us. However, we learned our lesson. It is that maybe we will never have a successful frontier, but we might as well have some fun with it. So we started another one named Beekmore. It was raided within a week by Europia. Only 20 nations, I believe, stepped down. And our current one, Love Kingdom, for those of you who know, the common allegation against us is that we are very hateful against everyone, I guess. So we thought it would be hilarious if Love Kingdom was the name of our new frontier, and we have yet heard nothing from them, so we will see. For those of you who wish to join in on the colonial efforts in Grenzau, please alert me, and you are certainly welcome. That is all for this year's edition of Zeitung Radio. Hopefully, I'll get one out before 2026, but we'll just have to see. I'm sure there might be one for Christmas, but who knows. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and listening to this radio broadcast, and glory to Kaiserreich.